Hey guys, what's up and welcome back. We're here and we are working our way through the Nightmare Dungeon tier system. So we're very comfortable in the 41 to 50 tier, and now what we want to do is move up through the ranks. We're working on the 51 to 60 tier, and what we're noticing is we're having survivability issues. So let's jump right into a Nightmare Dungeon. I've got a sigil here that we can use, and then, we'll see how we do, and if we succeed or if we fail, when we get back to town, we'll talk a little bit about the damage reduction stat and what we can do to better improve our build and our character. So let's dive right in. We've been working a lot on our AV setup, so hopefully everything goes smooth. Oh, this is the lightning bubble one. We should have salvaged this. This is basically like the worst gameplay decision the designers could have made. This bubble really adds nothing to it. That's okay, we'll see how it goes. We're still picking up emeralds. Nothing else though, no other gems. Gotta watch out for the ranged enemies. They're the most dangerous. Okay, so far so good, but we haven't played any elites yet. Cooldown reduction. Let's get this pot refill. There's no loot. Get our challenging shot back up. A little bit. Got these pots. Bringing out the trash. Okay, we're getting some help from the lightning bubble too, actually. Yeah, it's not the worst affliction, actually. Alright, if we skip that lone straggler down there, will the game actually do what it says it's going to do and not punish us for it? Fix that snapshot. Ugh. As I was trying to dodge into the bubble. It's the range attacks that are deadly. go up on you. Alright. They didn't punish us for skipping that one straggler. We get to move on. Kill the ranged enemies first. Okay. Challenging shout out. I'm hesitant to move challenging shout to the first slot, mainly because we need to keep our fury up. Alright, languishing corpses, so we gotta fight mini bosses. Oops. With the champion elites, you gotta get the champions out first. The lightning fix ones are pretty tough. Okay, but that wasn't the mini-boss. I really need a fountain. Should probably find a fountain before engaging the mini-boss. Maybe we want to locate them first and then come back to them. Use the bubble a little bit. Let's try to escape. See if we can find me. Oh shit, there's the butcher. Oh, I think we're fucked. Alright, let's go. Can't fight the butcher with a single potion. Definitely can't fight the butcher with no potions. Yikes. This is like worst case scenario. I don't see the fountains, probably all the way up here. We might have completely run away from the butcher. Okay. Ah, come on, there's no bubble. I like how we completely pussed out from fighting the butcher. That went well. It'd be funny if he's still hiding in the corner over here. How many revives do I got left? 2. is dead to the crowd control. Down to my last revive. The butcher in this difficulty would have owned us, so no shame, no shame there. Damn! It's definitely a damage reduction issue. Seriously? Seriously? I wasn't in the bubble? Okay, so what was that, a 59? Okay, so if we look, first off, our Paragon board is not good, right? We're experimenting with legendary nodes. We're not doing the Paragon board correctly yet. We don't have all of our Paragon points. We're at level 90. We have 10 levels to go. That's 40 points right there. And in terms of world renown, we have 1 out of 5 of the Paragon point rewards, which means we have, I think, 16 points on the table there, and then another 40 on the table from leveling, something like that. So we're like 50 Paragon points short, and then the ideal Paragon setup is typically 6 boards or 5 boards with some rare and legendary nodes. So it's like 6 boards if you just get glyphs, and then it's 5 boards if you focus more on additional nodes. In the skill tree, we're kind of defensive slanted already, so we have defensive stance, which is damage reduction while fortified. We have damage reduction while berserking. We have damage reduction while our shouts are active, and we have damage reduction from elites. So basically we have all of the damage reduction variants in the skill tree rather than the offensive options, which would be Pit Fighter, No Mercy, Counter Offensive, and Heavy Handed for our two-handed Great Sword Whirlwind build, right? And then obviously Expertise is two-handed axe. Our expertise is all filled out. And then for equipment, we really have 2 places to look to here, right? We have the gear affixes, where on chest and pants we could be looking at damage reduction from enemies that are bleeding, damage reduction while fortified, damage reduction from close, right? Some of those can be available on the amulet as well. I believe DR close and DR fortified are also available on the amulet slot. And basically what we need to do is consider how we can stack damage reduction, right? So like from Rallying Cry, 12 out of 15, we're getting 62% damage reduction. We have 4 other things in the skill tree that say damage reduction, and we can swap Wrath of the Berserker for Iron Skin and use the Iron Warrior aspect and get 25% damage reduction there, or 48% 38% if we put it on the amulet, right? Another aspect that we can explore is Iron Blood, which gives up to 20% damage reduction based on how many enemies around you are bleeding. So I think it's like 4% per bleeding enemy, up to 20%, so 5 bleeding enemies around you. And then if we put that on the amulet, it would be 6% up to 30%. And that 30% that we get from Iron Blood, or 20% that we get from Iron Blood, would be added with DR from bleeding enemies that we could put on chest and pants, or that we can get from the Paragon board, right? So we really have to start exploring how we can stack up damage reduction in these different buckets, right? And if I turn over to my spreadsheet, you know, on my Whirlwind Guide spreadsheet that I made for myself, I basically look at the d4builds.gg site, look at their database for their available what affixes can be on gear. They literally like just added the ranges too, which is really nice. But I had taken this, I'd put this together before that, which is to look at the range on the unupgraded items, and I believe what they're showing is the range on upgraded items. But like DR Fortified and Bleeding starts out at 14%. If we go over to d4builds.gg, look at the gear affixes for Barbarian and look at chest specifically, right? We can see that goes from 7 to 14%. So maybe they're showing, they might be showing the range. 14% would be when before it's upgraded. So they're showing the ranges before upgrading, right? But they're showing the highest tier ranges before upgrading. So we have that information here. So close, fortified, and bleeding, I put those at the top because that's what I think we should be focusing on. And we have ways to stack them. So DR close, we can get on gear. We can get from the territorial glyph. And we can get from different Paragon nodes. And then DR fortified, we can get on gear. We can get from sapphires in our armor and from different Paragon nodes. And then DR from bleeding, we can get on gear. We can get from the Iron Blood aspect. And then we can get that also from different Paragon nodes. And then if I look at the rare glyphs notes that I have, I don't think any of this is damage reduction related. The only thing related to damage reduction is this Weapon Master glyph, which can give bonus values to damage reduction modifiers. I really doubt this is better than doing the 120% modifier to magic nodes, where we can find clusters of magic nodes that have either like DR bleeding or DR close or something like that. DR to enemies that are vulnerable. See, that DR to enemies that are vulnerable is probably a trap because we can't stack it with anything else, right? And what we want to try and do is stack these values as high as possible, treating it like damage buckets, but instead of thinking about damage buckets, now we're thinking about damage reduction buckets, basically. And that's the step that we need to take to get to the next level as we're pushing through Nightmare Dungeons, and what we're currently not doing. We focused heavily on, damage multipliers and understanding the damage buckets up to this point. So emphasizing having main stat strength, critical strike damage and critical strike chance, vulnerable damage and ways to apply vulnerable. The additive damage bucket kind of takes care of itself via, the fourth slot on our weapons, and then random Paragon bonuses, although, maybe we're not doing our additive bucket correctly, but I think it just gets covered incidentally. And then the last thing is all the various multipliers that you get from aspects or skills or passives or Paragon glyphs and nodes or whatever, right? So we've invested very heavily into critical strike damage and vulnerable damage. We've taken care to have good multipliers from aspects and other sources. We pump our strength up. We have 1,000 strength. We think that we're doing okay in the additive damage bucket, but maybe the damage to close on all 4 weapons isn't enough. Maybe we need to think about that in the Paragon board a little bit more. And what we really need to be focusing on is damage reduction going forward. So that's my takeaway. I want to push into the level 70 dungeons, and to get there, we know what it takes. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing you in the next one.